Let me understand. But you mi sabe pinis lo tok blow you yet. Osem you mi sabe olsem this lo main troublemakers you mi sabe pinis lo. You yet you talk. Lo neck blow you. So me kisim neck blow you na me like ask him. You was man ya. Walk blow you. You know walk blow me. Walk blow me em lo. Support him you olsem government country na talk walk him. So me come back lo you na. You sabe pinis lo this lo binatang no good ya. You saw finish. You mean no call him name blow straight, but you saw finish. How by me banism all people blow me? Resources blow me, country blow me. How by me make it?
I would say, lawbreakers are not invited in this country. They got to go. They got to go. You break the law, you're not a, genuine, person to be in this country if you're not from here, if you're from overseas. So you break the law, you got to go. You don't need to stay here anymore. You got to go. You got to make sure that you get out of here.
Thank you very much. We will proceed. First, yes, we'll get there. What we will do is have a presentation by all of the state entities that are here. That will be starting with, before lunch, we will start with Central Bank, FASU, and then after lunch we'll go to Customs. And questions will be asked after the presentations are made, so in the interest of time. Thank you very much, Mr. Negatil. Just from my own observations, and one or two questions before we wrap up, I'm curious to know, your organization, does it collect a levy? Does it imposes a levy, 0.5%? Is that imposed by your organization? That's on production?
That is correct. That is correct.
How much do you make per year?
It's about 60 million, Kina.
You collect 60 million?
Yeah.
So your organization collects 60 million in levies?
Yeah.
What do you do with that money? What does your organization do with that money? That's a lot of money, 60 million.
That's a lot of money, yes.
And so you're now telling us you don't have the capacity to regulate, enforce the law, send inspectors, conduct investigations, yet you're saying you get 60 million a year? I'm curious to understand this. Please help.
We just need to look at, changing certain things to, give effect the law that regulates.
Mr. Negatil, this question is very simple. What happens to that 60 million that your organization collects per year? That is the 60 million that you could use to recruit the people you need to carry out these activities. That's the 60 million that you could use to carry out the audits and inspections. For instance, we all know who the players are. We all know who they are. They are not hiding in foreign countries. They are here in plain sight. In fact, many of us here know their office section allotment number and how they're operating. So I'm curious to know how, with 60 million, you can't conduct a basic investigation, or your organization can't conduct an investigation into this. What happens to that 60 million? What does MRA do with that 60 million? Does it go back to the national government, or does MRA utilize it? Or a portion of it's retained by the national MRA? Help us understand this so we can help you.
It's used for the MRA's functions. We'd like to, with the...
So, Mr. Negatil, very quickly, does MRA get budgeted funds? You request funding from the national government and you get funds from the national government, am I correct?
We get funds from the levy and the licensing fees.
Oh, okay, so your funding is exclusively from just the levy and licensing?
Levy and the license fees, yeah.
So you get no grants whatsoever from the national government?
No.
Oh, okay, that
but
makes
that's still plenty of money.
It is. It is. What's your staffing? What's the staffing level like? Your organization. How many staff on strength do you have?
On strength, 150.
150.
We need more.
Yes. And of this 60 million that MRA receives, what amount is apportioned for enforcement activities?
We may have the money, but we don't have the capacity.
When you say you don't have the capacity, I'm assuming you don't have the workers, you don't have the experience, skills.
Officers, yes.
Why is that?
Part of it is through the procurement process. We follow the public service procurement. It takes long.
Is
No.
DPM the problem? Let me just go straight to that.
Yeah,
Is
I
it
would think so.
DPM? You
I
have any
mean,
problems with DPM?
our process in procuring, we're following the DPM's process. So, you know, when you arrive at trying to get somebody, he refuses because the offer is low. You know,
Have you tried upgrading those positions? Again, I know it's a DPM function.
we need to look at that. We need to talk about that.
We need to look at it or we need to do it?
Look at it to do
Looking at it can take a few years. We don't have a few years. Stand
it. Okay,
seriously.
okay, okay.
Problem em stabia. All people blame me, but start killing all man about na. You know, it's going to make us all look bad on the world stage because our agencies are not responding. So question blotemenia em stabia. Is DPM the problem? If we call DPM in here and set them next to you, would that help you in getting to the solution quicker? If we are asking them the question on your behalf?
Yeah, if the committee can, raise it with them.
The committee will.
Okay.
So on notice, the committee will be also calling the Department of Labor, IPA, Migration, Police, IRC, to also turn up and explain why these committees or these organizations aren't working together to protect this very important sector for Papua New Guineans. From our very brief discussions here, first and foremost to the audience, to the people of Papua New Guinea, this is just the beginning of this journey. We have a long way to go yet. But we're going to be effective in delivering recommendations that we believe need to be taken up immediately. Members of this committee here are very serious about their work, and we expect that level of seriousness from those who also attend. MRA, it's obvious that there's a lot of work yet to be done. Your organization needs a serious restructuring. That's from my own experience, I can just see that straight away. It does not appear to have enforcement and prosecutorial capabilities. That's very important. You need to develop that immediately. These are your teeth that are supposed to be out there protecting the interests of Papua New Guineans, and we feel that you have not adequately developed them. It's the same with many authorities in the country, actually, that are charged with the responsibility of regulating and enforcing laws to protect PNG interests for, say, forestry, fisheries, MRA, minerals. And as pointed out by members here, the gates are wide open. We have all manner of characters coming to this country, most of whom are not genuine taxpayers, most of whom are not here to do what is right by our laws. And it's because we let them. It's because we let them. We're responsible. We're at the gates, we're at the doorway, and we're letting them come in here and do this to our people. Shame on us. So, having said that, Stan, thank you very much for your insight. This is an opportunity for you to also highlight the capacity issues that your organization faces and how we as a committee can help you. You've got some very credible members of the committee here who are going to make some strong recommendations that have to be taken up by executive government. Anyhow, having said that, we will proceed with the Central Bank. Central Bank, you'll just give us an update on your roles and responsibilities. I believe you are exclusively responsible for issuing licenses for exports. We've got intelligence here that tells us, gives us a very frightening figure from the data given by MRA, by the way, and comparing that with imports from PNG as reported to international trade data on UN Comtrade, credible statistics. And that data tells us, as an example, I'll just take 2 years. In 2021, 2.8 tons of gold were smuggled from PNG in 2021. In 2022, 2.3 tons of gold were smuggled from PNG. Very frightening statistics. What's happening?